You don't have to say a single false word to be dishonest. Lying by omission happens when you choose to leave out the truth, especially when that truth changes how your audience sees you.
Baby, it's so easy to change me. All you have to do is claim me.
Hey guys!
As I'm sure most of you already know, the reaction channel Rachel is catching major heat right now, and honestly, for good reason. Her so called apology in that community post was absolutely abysmal. This is a textbook case of lying by omission. Rachel knew exactly how her audience felt about Emily and everything that's come out about her. She claimed that she wasn't cozying up to Emily, but we all saw what it was. Pretending that she's not a feeder and had nothing to do with Amber's weight gain, for example, is laughable. Smiling, defending Emily, acting like she wasn't that bad. This was not a misunderstanding. That was calculated. She knew her audience would never support Emily. So, instead of being upfront about it, she tried to reframe the narrative. Slowly, subtly, like we wouldn't notice. And for some people, it worked. But for others, yeah, the alarm bells went off loud and clear. So let's break down exactly how Rachel tried to rewrite the truth and why it matters. All right, so let's talk about how Rachel pulled this off, because it wasn't just one thing, it was a slow burn. First, she started dropping little comments, subtle hints that maybe Emily isn't quite as bad as we thought she was. She was planting tiny seeds of doubt about everything the audience already knew. Then came the collab, kind of framed as like, ooh, this is going to be her big break. It was calculated, and it was a way to normalize the presence of Emily and without addressing the elephant in the room. But here's the kicker. Rachel never told her audience that Emily was being paid. That money was changing hands, but she knew that the second people found out, they'd feel betrayed. That is manipulation. Not just lying outright, but controlling what people don't know to keep them compliant. It's a trust game. Rachel wanted the benefits of transparency, the connection, the loyalty, without actually being transparent. And when you build your career on authenticity, that's not just bad optics, that's a moral failure. So let's talk about the fallout, because Rachel's response, it made everything worse. When the truth came out, instead of owning it, she doubled down with that weak community post. You know the one. But what she actually did was fall for a manipulator's tricks, thinking she was so much smarter than everyone else. But in reality, she's the clown here. Now listen, creators can make mistakes. People screw up, especially online. But the difference between a real apology and damage control is accountability. A real apology doesn't minimize, doesn't gaslight, and definitely doesn't blame the audience for catching on. If Rachel truly wanted to rebuild trust, she'd start with full honesty. Explain what happened, why it happened, and what she's doing to make it right. No excuses, no spin, just the truth. Because once your viewers stop believing you, once they realize you're willing to manipulate them, it's almost impossible to come back from that. Look, grace is important. People make mistakes, and when they own up to them honestly, we should give them room to grow. But grace has to be earned. And this was not Rachel's first mess up. It's a pattern, one that keeps getting harder to ignore. Making shady deals behind your audience's back is already bad enough. But then using Beck of all people as an excuse? That's not just poor judgment. That's gross. It's manipulative, and it shows exactly how far Rachel is willing to go to protect her image, not her integrity. At some point, it stops being a mistake and becomes a choice. And when you keep choosing dishonesty, when you keep lying by omission, you lose the right to call it an accident. Because in the end, transparency isn't optional, it's the foundation of trust. And once that foundation cracks, there's no apology and no excuse big enough to fix it. Because sometimes it's not the lies we tell that break trust, it's the truths that we don't. If you have to hide the truth to keep your audience, maybe you don't deserve them. I want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. All opinions are welcome, but please be respectful. Do not go after or say anything nasty to anyone mentioned in this video. I promote kindness, not mean girl behavior. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.